So hello. We are back for another Over Under. If you are new to Over Under and you don't know the rules, it goes as follows. There's rules kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyways, where there's like kind of rules, but it's not really there. It's just a lot of tangents and a lot of screaming at each other. But the rules, in theory, go as follows.
You guys gonna yell at me?
No, at each other.
Okay.
Everyone gets them.
Yeah.
So the rules go like this. I have a list of topics here that I'm gonna go over, and you have to give me your reaction on whether it's overrated or underrated. That's gonna be one word response. We're gonna go around, get everyone's response, come back, and then you're gonna tell me why you think it's overrated or why you think it's underrated.
Okay.
Clear rules?
Yeah, I would have liked to be in the middle for this thing.
No, you go first.
No, you're fine.
That's the best part about this. That's
Yeah,
why I went
last
second.
time-
That's why we went second.
Last time we had Val sitting where you are, and we almost had we did have a moment, but it almost became a different thing. So I'm glad that he's
man.
far away from you this time. It's the tension is you can cut it with a knife. Yeah. Okay.
Let's get into this.
So let's get into the first topic. I'm sure everyone knows the rules. I'm sure everyone knows that this is going to break off into a lot of tangents, and we're all excited for it. So, starting with the first one. Community colleges, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Underrated.
Why?
I think it goes back to what we're talking about with the stigma, that there's a sense of shame that's kind of like where you end up, and people don't realize that it's actually a great start to your career. You get to explore all of your career options, even if you don't know where you plan on going. And I think that it's a great way to save money. It's flexible, it's affordable, and it's absolutely underrated.
Val?
I'm gonna have to go in the business terminology. It's definitely ROI positive. So you can't really find, when you look at community colleges, there's not a lot of negatives to it. There's a lot of upside to it. So there's the value you get from the community you're around, and then you can still transition to a four-year university after that. The costs are lower, the barriers are lower. I think community colleges are just so underrated, and they're just overlooked with the stigma. But in the long term, it creates actually a lot of value for those that go to community colleges.
Nikhil?
Yeah. Society is what made community colleges sound like a bad thing. Plus, I mean, you're like an example right here, right? Like, you went to community college, yet you transferred to UCR. He and I started UCR, and did it for the whole full 4 years, and paid a lot more money than you. But here we are sitting in the same exact place with the same exact degree.
I got an MBA.
Don't you dare. We're all just like little footlings.
He's better than us, remember?
He's better than all of us.
I put that out there, man.
Keep in mind, Val, I have 4
If you're listening,
associate's
Val
degrees.
has an MBA. Hire him.
I agree with everything. I agree that they're super underrated. Like, people aren't taking advantage of them, and they should be taken advantage of. Get as much as you can from it. Go learn whatever. Like I said, I have 4 associate's degrees. It's a weird thing to have 4 of them, but the reason I kind of wear it as a little award, because that shows like how I went from I have no idea what I want to do to I know exactly what I want to do. Like, and that's the difference, and that's what community college can give you. It's like going from like I have no idea to cool, I'm very passionate about this thing, and now I'm going to go pursue that thing. So I agree, super underrated. Okay, next, and this is directed towards somebody here. Private school tuition, underrated, overrated?
Oh, overrated.
Absolutely overrated.
Overrated.
I'll start there first. Why?
Nobody needs to spend that much money for an education.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's not honestly much more to say that it's just way overpriced. There's the value you get out of it for what you pay for. I mean, back in the day with prestige of the name, like we talked about during the podcast, there is some value there because it does give you that VIP ticket, quote unquote, in the network. But you can get that elsewhere nowadays, so that shouldn't be the end all.
I hesitated because I have seen the firsthand benefits of what my private education has got me. I get job offers regularly because people see that I went to USC. I see that network of alumni to where I've been going to events where it's just all about like, wow, you're now like, you started your own company, you're the CEO. Like, maybe you can, how can we collaborate? Even if it's on like a small scale, not like come work for me necessarily. it is such a huge network, and I think that's what you're paying for with the private tuition. I also loved it at the time when I was going to school. I would get free t-shirts every day. I would get free food all the time. And then in hindsight, it's like, oh my gosh, like I would have happily taken several tens of thousands of dollars off my tuition if I just gave back all of the t-shirts, if I gave back all of the free cookies that people were just handing out on campus. So it absolutely is overrated, but I do see where you're paying for it.
Yep. I would say it's a bit overrated, but I completely agree with the networking side of it. Like at the end of the day, that is why it's so expensive, is the network. With any private school, really.
Yeah.
It's the network entirely that drives it. Alrighty. We talked about this a little bit on the podcast, but YouTube University, overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Underrated.
So when you say YouTube University is not an actual
This is not
thing,
you don't
right?
think
Like,
you don't think
it's
you don't
like-
think. Just answer the question. I'm not giving you anything. Overrated,
You just
underrated.
don't-
Overrated, underrated.
Oh man. Overrated.
Okay. Why is that?
Start over there.
Let's start right here, actually.
Okay, I'm always, you can throw it at me first if you want, whenever. But the reason why it's very underrated is because as long as you know how to search correctly and find information, it's endless. There's no cap to how much you can learn on YouTube University. Majority of my skill sets, majority of things I've learned is because of YouTube and then application and practice of it. So I don't have that issue that it's hard to find stuff as long as you know how to search for the right things on YouTube. I think it's so underrated because you can learn almost any skill, but there is a lot of false information. There's a lot of fake gurus out there, and that can push you in the wrong direction. So as long as you are very cautious of that, I think it's super underrated.
Look at me.
Yes.
Overrated for me because in my personal experience, a lot of the time I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, right? And a lot of the time I need kind of like a guided instruction or kind of a set up pathway to success. And while I have learned from YouTube, it's always been hard for me to kind of just look up videos and learn an entire skill from that alone. I see the value of it completely. I mean, that's how he's got to where he is today, a lot of it. But for me, like I need like a crash course of some kind or a boot camp or like an actual setup program.
Gotcha. Jason?
I chose overrated because I recently started my own YouTube channel, and it's super fluffy. It's not like teaching an actual skill, but I have learned from firsthand experience that some videos are a lot harder to make than others. And I tend to go more towards like, I can get this video out way faster if I just do this, if I take the easy way out, and that'll get me a lot more views than if I really took my time, did a dedicated produced video. So I do think a lot of what you see on YouTube is just of like quantity over quality. And in the sense of people are breaking up their videos more in order to get more views, to get more subscriptions, that sort of thing. So I do agree that there is a ton of knowledge there. I have learned everything that I know in the sense of my YouTube career through YouTube and how to edit, how to film, that sort of thing. But you really do have to be mindful of how you're searching for these things and which content you're actually absorbing, because it is kind of hard to get through that minefield.
Yeah. I actually don't have an answer for this. I think it's underrated. If I had to put my bet on a horse kind of thing. You can learn whatever you want. Why not? Learn something. I mean, I've learned everything from like you think like geofencing and stuff like that. Like I learned it from YouTube. At the same time, I also learned how to like, how to make bread, how to do like culinary stuff. I learned how to do electrical. Like it's like a lot of stuff that please don't do what I do, because it's very dangerous to do electrical on your own. I was risking my own life, but it worked out. I'm still here. I'm alive. But you can learn to do these things. You can learn whatever you need to do. It's not just a matter of kind of professional enrichment, which is there, and I think any field that you look up. But also just like kind of personal things, like for gardening. Like I looked up a bunch of stuff when me and Alyssa made our garden that we have. It's like that's how we learned how to plant stuff and how to cultivate and do all that stuff is from YouTube. So YouTube University, super, super underrated in my opinion. Okay, moving on. Traditional schools, so you think like your 4-year institutions, your 2-year institutions, their current online education systems. Overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
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 Ooh, 3 overs. Okay, please, amongst yourselves.
I think there's just room for improvement. I feel like it's still a new landscape that people are navigating. I also think that in the scope of like current faculty and like tenured instructors, they don't want to learn that. You know, they're set in their ways. They're like, why do I need to learn how to use Zoom? I think faculty are still struggling with like Canvas and how students can submit papers online that they didn't even want to adapt to that sort of thing. So it starts internally, but then on a broader scope of things, it's like, well, that's just one facet of education. We also have our in-person education, and we're going to focus more on that because it's easier to understand. We don't want to have to innovate and learn all these new things. So I think that it's moving towards getting better at online education, but I think right now everybody brags about their online classes because they have them. And that's the thing that they brag about, is that they offer them. Whether they're good or not is a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I would say they're overrated because if you're transitioning the medium of how you're teaching something, you also have to transition of how you're doing it. So, for example, you can't do what you do in person on an online medium and expect the same result from the students, the knowledge to be learned, and all these things. And that's exactly what 4 universities did. Unfortunately, I mean, there was a quick transition, so I can't just blame them for that. But now we're already in a new quarter, a new semester, so now it's the time to like really start picking it up, especially heading into the new year. But the reality is that if you're going onto a digital medium, leverage the ability to adapt on the digital medium. So what I mean by that is if you're online, you can like personalize the experience for students better, give them projects that they can work on in their free time, connect them to networking events that they can do directly through LinkedIn. There's more opportunities, but then there's that knowledge gap, and a lot of tenured professors don't have that understanding. So it's hard to create that system for students. But I just think that universities right now are not taking advantage of going to online. And that's why I'm saying it's very, very overrated, because education, they're trying to do the same thing, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah, so I obviously haven't been in these online classes, but from what I've heard, there's a lot more room for improvement. So I think it'll get to a point eventually where if this carries on long enough, like they will be underrated. But like I've been hearing a lot about like Zoom fatigue. I mean, we have that in meetings for work. Just imagine that for school and having to be on camera all the time. Like there are some professors who require you to be on camera all the time, which is kind of a problem because it's like you all of a sudden your classroom is in your house, right? And what if your house or apartment or whatever is not set up where you can't avoid having people walk behind you, or your like cat coming on your lap or something like it does in every meeting for you. But, I'm just kidding.
No, it's not kidding. It's factual.
You're gonna attack me. Hold on to that.
You don't go halfway. You gotta go all the way through.
My dog jumps on me. My cat bites me during conversations. Like it happens, man.
Yeah, and then like other things I've heard are like participation and stuff. It's like, what if your internet cuts out when the professor's doing participation? All of a sudden your grade's lower because your internet cut out. You know, so it's like I at the same time I have been hearing about adaptation and stuff, and where professors after the first term of sudden switching over after the summer, now that the summer's ended, they've like improved and come up with new, more innovative ideas to make this work better.
Can I ask, has anybody taken an online class? Because I've never even taken an online class.
Never.
I've helped design an online class, but I've never actually physically taken one.
Yeah. So it's hard to say that like we have these strong opinions about online classes when technically as students we've never even taken one.
Well, I think that one of the reasons why at least I have the opinion is like I saw what an online class was back when I was going, and it's the exact same thing. Yeah. So all that's changed is now it's the only option as opposed to previously where it was an option. I saw what it was and I said, nah, like that, and that's the thing. It's like, I saw what online class was when it was an option for me. And I said, that will not work for me.
Right.
But now when it's the only option, I wouldn't do anything. There's no chance. I would be an awful student. I would, because it's like, I would be napping. First off, 100%, taking a nap. My cat would be biting me or jumping on my lap. Or my dog would be wanting to go for a walk and like hopping on me and like licking me and all this stuff. So it's like all these things accumulate into one big distraction and will not allow me to actually thrive in that particular class.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say another thing for me too is that like my eyes are extremely sensitive, right? So it's like if I'm looking at a computer for an hour straight, they're gonna be hurting. Actually, my eyes are still hurting from like last night because I played too many video games. But
What video games did you play?
How close are you to the TV?
Yeah, like
no, I was
what-
actually no, I was far out. That's how sensitive my eyes are, and like some other people deal with this too. I was just unlucky. But if I'm like in a video class for like an hour, 2 hours, my eyes are gonna be killing me, and it's like I have to take breaks. But it's almost hard. It's pretty hard to take breaks, like in that kind of setting, you know.
Yeah, I read an article that some researchers were looking into fatigue in relation to Zoom and everything like that. And I guess one of the things that happens with our brains, that it's actually more tiring for our brains to be on Zoom calls than it is to be in person, because when you're in person, like our brains are constantly looking out for like body language and taking that as cues. It's damn near impossible to read those cues over video call. So our brains are constantly going like back and forth, trying to make sense of anything that we can see. So it ends up tiring you out more than anything, which is why like after you're on like, sometimes we have like 3 or 4 hours of like straight video calls of like different meetings, where I just want to lay down and die, you know, because it's difficult, it's tiring. But it's literally because our brains are not wired to do that. Our brains aren't wired. They want to see like in-person stuff where you can see very clearly body language and get an understanding of someone's kind of, I guess anything, body language in general.
I think for me with like in-person classes, I would be a terrible online student, because for me, I kind of think of in-person classes like having a gym membership, where it's like, all right, if I have to go, as long as I just step foot into the gym, I'm gonna work out. But if I buy like a program where it's working out from home, that takes a lot more self-discipline to actually get yourself to do it. That's where I would struggle and be like, oh, I have to log in, like, but I'm tired. Like, I don't wanna, I'm gonna sleep in today. And then it requires just a lot more like monitoring yourself sort of thing. So I think that's where online classes get tricky for people. And the eyes thing, you know, I don't have that problem, but
We don't have
sounds about right.
your precious eyes.
Yes.
Well,
You have the special eyes.
I had to get blue light glasses exactly for that reason. Though, like these are not regular glasses. Like I don't need this to see.
I have blue light glasses.
These are blue light glasses because I look at a monitor all day long and my eyes start burning. Like,
I'm
at
starting to
this
get like
point.
carpal tunnel from
Same.
like being just on a computer all day long.
Yep. Yeah, I for one, I need glasses. In general, I lost mine in good old Tampa Bay, Florida.
Florida will do that to you.
Can
Yeah,
you
Florida would
explain the voice change?
Tampa Bay, Florida. Tampa Bay, Florida. What do you mean? We'll explain the change. Before I was so rudely interrupted, I lost them at a BJ's brewery in Tampa Bay, Florida.
You went on vacation and went to a BJ's?
Stop. Okay, I was working.
It's like going to the Cheesecake Factory. You
Okay,
don't
hold on.
take a
Calm
trip
down.
and do that.
Calm down. I was working. My just so happened to be in Tampa Bay, Florida. It was the day before we were supposed to get on a flight to come back home, and we were very tired. And we said, "Let's get something to eat. We're feeling fancy today. Let's go to BJ's."
Did you get all button down shirts and everything?
We were still wearing the.
Are you trying
our
to
work
justify
clothes.
going to BJ's? Because you haven't convinced me.
It's. Okay, I'm trying to come up with an excuse here. It was late.
Okay.
It was
we
our
were
only
tired.
choice.
Yeah, we
Alright.
just finished a job. But yeah, I was in BJ's. I left them on the counter. So someone, if you found my glasses in the Tampa Bay, Florida BJ's in some shopping mall, I don't know where it was, and be honest with you, just somewhere in Tampa Bay, send them to Riverside. They'll get to me eventually. Thank you in advance. How did we get to this? I need glasses. I need glasses, and I miss my glasses. Okay, moving forward. Now we're getting in. Okay, we're getting into the fun stuff now. We're gonna try and do this very quickly. Blockchain, overrated, underrated.
Oh my God, so
Just say it first. I'm not gonna give you the one.
so overrated.
So overrated.
Super underrated.
Underrated.
Okay, I'm not gonna let Val speak. Nikhil, can you?
It's just underrated. Let Val speak.
All right.
Casey?
I'm sick of hearing about it, honestly.
You haven't heard about it. Let me just define what it is first, so that
That'd be
you get some
helpful.
Context.
All right.
And just really quickly.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna go for like 30 minutes.
Put a timer. Just
I'm
put
gonna
a
go
timer.
for like 30
Give
minutes.
me 60 seconds.
I'll be back.
What blockchain is like when you have like a bank transfer, right? It goes through a middleman. It goes to the bank, and they have to validate that transfer happened.
Okay.
What blockchain is that the network of people use something called ledgers to, when you're sending, you can send it directly to another person, and the network validates it for you. So you never have to go through a middleman. So you don't have to go through a bank, and you don't have to go through any transaction. It tracks it on something called a ledger, while Luis is sleeping over here. So the idea there is that it eliminates like fraud. It eliminates middlemen like interest percentages. If you're trying to wire money to Europe, it costs money to send it internationally.
Okay.
Blockchain allows you to do that in real time, so you don't have to pay any transaction fees, and it gets validated and there's no fraud. And you can do this in like supply chains. If I'm buying a product from China and it gets shipped over, I can track how it got here and validate that it actually like went from point A to point B and all the checkpoints in between. So it's using technology to validate that whole thing. It's very complicated. It's not easy, and that's why he's very over me trying to talk about it. And it goes over almost every person's head. But it's a technology that is going to impact markets quite dramatically in the next 10 years.
May I ask why you're so worked up about it? What's the... I was just saying, why?
It's honestly the coffee, dude. This is my fifth cup. No, the reason why I it's interesting is because the conversation around blockchain is always like cryptocurrency, so it's like Bitcoins and all these things. And a lot of people don't understand the actual technology behind it. Okay. They're so focused on like, I made Bitcoin got to $16,000 and blah, blah. Yeah, there you go. You could do the countdown on there. But the concept is that for blockchain specifically, it reduces a lot of middlemen and money restrictions that exist in markets. It's very complicated, but it solves a lot of problems. But the technology is so new that it not like nobody knows about it.
So it's underrated because it's like underutilized and a lot of people don't know about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, nobody really knows enough about it, and because of that, it's hard to get it adopted into like society, of course. But it would solve a lot of problems.
Wow, that's wild. We literally, Twitch actually just suspended our account because that was so boring.
Thank you.
That's
Appreciate
crazy.
It. Appreciate it.
No, I'm kidding. Look, blockchain is very important, and it's the future. It is, but it's one of those things. It's one of those things to where like, you're so passionate about it that I'm just like, oh, here we go. Like, it's like because it's like we all talk about eventually getting our PhDs, the three of us.
I never said I wanted my PhD.
No, he doesn't. He just wants to get a little bit more education.
Yeah, we're at the bars and
a little bit more education.
Yeah, you and I. Yeah. And you would be in blockchain and that kind of that side of it, whereas myself, I would be in just figuring out people, in general. So yeah, I get why you're excited about it. It is literally the future. Like, I'm being very honest, not even being like facetious in it. Did I say that right?
No, but that's okay.
Facetious?
I can't talk. Facetious. Okay, there we go.
Facetious.
Facetious. I can't do it. I can't do it.
Still kind of wonky.
All right. I'm not trying to be like weird in any way. Like it's very much like it is the future, and it's gonna go all this. So I'll give you that now.
And when I hear that in the future, I'm gonna remember this moment and go, that nerd that went off. Tell me everything I know.
And I didn't even explain it correctly, so it's like it's whatever.
Okay, so we'll save the best one for last. But next topic is TikTok right now. Is it overrated or underrated?
We do have last
Overrated.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Today. Technically, tomorrow is when it's supposed to expire, or did they give it another week?
No, I thought
it was supposed to be last week.
It got bought.
Yeah. Or
no,
some deal happened.
It did, but it didn't. So
yeah, nothing has happened yet. They gave it an extension.
So the deal, it only will go through if Oracle actually gets the ownership from the CCP, which right now is the conversation because they don't want to give it across.
But then I also read that that'll just block new downloads. But if you have it, it still stays like.
But who's gonna it's gonna eventually?
It's not gonna it's not gonna
dying.
upgrade or anything. So at that point, yeah.
Current U.S. government, overrated, underrated.
Let's not go there.
Okay. So yeah, TikTok right now, underrated or overrated?
I said overrated.
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 I think we got into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I just say, there's so much confusion behind this thing. So like, even with the deal, if Oracle and Walmart, if Oracle and Walmart end up getting this deal, I think combined they're only getting like 15.5% of ByteDance's stake. Like ByteDance still owns it'd be 80%, so 20 total. So ByteDance would still own 80% of TikTok.
That's the issue. That's the conversation, because what the current administration, the White House wants is that if it does get transitioned over to Walmart and Oracle having the stake, the other 80% needs to be into an IPO that other shareholders can get, and it transitions out of CCP ownership. And that's why I don't think. I mean, every week it changes, man. It's exhausting to follow it at this point.
It was supposed to be the 15th, I think, that it was supposed to get taken off the store, and then it got pushed to this upcoming week. Oh, not this upcoming week, like a week later, and then it got like they finally did it to where it's like, nope, you can't download it anymore. So like if your phone has TikTok, I think that you're like you can no longer find it on the app stores. So now like the resale value for phones that have both Fortnite and TikTok installed on their phones has like gone up on eBay. Yeah, and it's Floppy Bird all over again. So you have this weirdness happening right now where it's like the US is just like cannot decide what it wants to do with TikTok, when in reality this is just like, look, man, I don't want to get too political here, but like it's become this thing of like they just want to like look like they're like China hawks, you know, where it's like they want to be like, oh, we're not gonna let China take our data, when like in reality, like technically speaking, the data was being processed, I think, through AWS here in the States, through TikTok.
They started doing that after they had a lot of issues come up with like spying and like the access when they found out you get root control. That's like right away they're like the servers need to be in the United States.
Yeah, and
that's a huge part of the Oracle deal. Is Oracle wants to do the servers for TikTok, which would create $700-800 million revenue for them per year. So there's that tie also. It's very complicated. So when you actually look at the deal, Oracle's they're trying to get minority stake ownership, but they're trying to get the servers so that they're the main source of the servers. Yeah,
it's the main reason why Walmart wants to bid in it, so they can get all the data on like Gen Z and their fantastic dances. You know, it's like that's what Walmart needs. If anything, they want the little holograms when you walk in, so the greeter's just doing like a TikTok dance or something like that. I really don't know. So it's super overrated. Not even TikTok. TikTok is not overrated. It's just what's happening, the situation that's happening right now that around it that's overrated.
I think TikTok itself is overrated. I took this question as more of like you guys took like the political side of things, which of course is obviously like the more topical thing, but I am a viewer of TikTok. I love TikTok. I make TikToks. I don't do the dances though. No, don't worry about that. But I think TikTok is interesting in the sense that they've now created this creator fund to where you can monetize your TikTok if you make it big. And what's interesting is that I think it's genius because I had one TikTok go viral. It got like over 220,000 views sort of thing. You get a little taste of like fame and you go, this could be my job. I could do this sort of thing. And it's like you get addicted to that. I was one who crumbled under the pressure. I turned off my phone for a week because like my phone wouldn't stop ringing. It was terrifying. But I understand how those people will like, they'll get one viral TikTok and they'll be like, hey, I'm gonna start working my way towards making this my job. I'm gonna make 6 TikToks a day because I wanna be a part of that creator fund. And it's interesting because for these Gen Zers who, you know, they're taking online classes, they're working from home kind of thing, where it's like, I have the time to make TikToks and it could be a job someday that I get paid for. I see these people making it big, moving to LA sort of thing. That could be me. When that only happens to the smallest percentage of people, you know? And so it's just kind of interesting how it's not social media to me. I'm not following my friends. I'm not seeing what TikToks they're posting. They're not posting their food. It's random people that get fed into your algorithm. And so it's almost like, I like it because it's a mini YouTube. They're little 1-minute video clips, but it's overrated in the sense that people think that it has more potential for them than it probably realistically does.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. That's actually the first time we talked about on that perception of TikTok. So thank you.
Yeah,
we talked about TikTok like 3 times.
I took more of like the influencer side of things. That's just how I see it.
We've always talked about the business side of TikTok.
Well, do you guys have TikToks?
I do.
It's not on my phone anymore.
What kind of like TikToks are you getting like in your? Because everybody's different. Because
it was terrifying because they were so good.
They were so good. It's so addictive.
That's the thing.
When I had it on my phone, I opened it up, signed in, liked a few TikToks, going through it, followed a few people. Next thing you know, like the algorithm is just, chef's kiss for that. But it was like everything. I was like banger, like everything, every single one. It was like it hit me, like whether it was like personal development, whether it was just a funny meme, whether it was like a joke, like whatever it was, like everything was different. It was never like one category over and over and over and over and over again. It was multiple categories of things that I was interested in.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, like this is fantastic. And it's, I mean, that is one thing that we have talked about, the algorithm and how
they get it and how they do it.
Yeah.
That's the part that's scary. They know everything. They have root access to your phone. They know the hardware specs. They know the other apps you have on your phone. They know all your behavior. You know their I mean, all social media knows your geolocations. That's a little different, but they know every data point, and because of that, they can make that For You page scary good.
Absolutely. I just moved to LA and I was like apartment hunting. All of a sudden my TikTok became cool things to do in LA and interior design, renter friendly interior design. And it's like, I enjoy this. It was very applicable.
Save that.
Yeah, it was very applicable, but also like, I don't like that you know exactly where I am in my point in life, that this is what I want to see.
But that is like again, I can give as many chef's kisses as I can for that, because that algorithm is fantastic.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Look, we've been talking about TikTok like every week at this point, and I think it's so boring now to just like figure out what the heck is happening. You know, I was so bullish on it at one point, like earlier in the year. I was like, dude, TikTok is it. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is where it's all going.
It's true. He was doing the dances and everything.
Yeah,
Can
no,
I
was-
challenge you guys next time before you talk about TikTok on your next podcast to like make some dances, post them,
You know,
really
that
get
was
that
part of the
creator
plan.
experience. I'd
Like-
like to see you guys do the WAP dance, maybe.
Okay.
Like, I think that'd be.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that'd be good content. You know.
I'd like to see that actually.
Not on LinkedIn though.
I think that's great for LinkedIn.
I think that's actually better for LinkedIn.
If Luis is sharing his bar stories, you know, might as well share the WAP
Yeah,
dance.
it's true. I'm trying to think of like all the times that I may or may not have shared like my bar talk.
We have plenty of those for another time.
Another time. Okay, we're moving on to the last topic. This is something that Nico wanted to add. Something that, be very careful,
Wait, what?
because keep in mind my feelings are here.
It's a stash.
My mustache.
Oh.
Is it overrated or underrated?
Dude, so underrated. Are you
Okay.
kidding?
Okay. You can hurt me, by the way.
Oh,
I'm okay with
oh
it.
no, I'm gonna say underrated, but I have a really good reason why I'm gonna say it right after.
Okay.
Underrated.
Overrated.
There we go. I was waiting for one person. I have at least a negative view.
Why? I don't know if I want to ask, but go ahead. Why?
Dude, it looks good.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that, man.
The reason why I'm saying your stash is underrated is because the only time you shave is right before the show. So for this show, you get it down to the T, and it gives you your personality. So I'm all about it being underrated, specifically because of the Brew show.
I associate mustaches with dads.
I am a father, actually.
But are you a father?
I am a father.
You're a fur father.
I'm a father. I'm a
yeah,
father first
and now you're
foremost.
just in another realm of you're not my peer. You're just too responsible. You have a whole other life going on.
Yeah.
I also think we used to make fun of you in the marketing department because
Yeah,
like
you. I don't know if I can. I don't know if.
type
Oh
of-
yeah, there. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the word pedo may have been thrown around, not by me particularly.
There may or may not have been pictures circulating the marketing department that put me in a wanted picture
That's
when
exactly
I
what it is.
first
I-
grew my
Nothing
mustache.
wrong with
Fun fact,
mustaches,
I
guys. Nothing wrong with it.
You are still saved in my phone. Do you know who your contact picture is?
I can only imagine.
Oh my God, who's the cocaine guy?
Pablo Escobar.
Yeah.
Escobar.
Anyway.
That's what you are still saved in my phone as your contact picture that pops up. So that's what your mustache is. You're a drug dealing father.
Did you bring up Pablo Escobar?
What happened?
Oh my god.
It's his father. He's a father. That's what you're a drug dealing father. That's how I see it.
I'm like like Ozark. like Ozark. Have you guys watched Ozark?
I have, but
There's no mustache.
there's no
but-
mustache.
Oh, I was
There's-
like, he doesn't have a mustache. Okay, I see what you're
But the
saying.
drug
Though. But you're the
dealing father.
Jason Bateman. You're not that cool. Don't give yourself.
I'm
much
never
credit.
gonna compare myself
Yeah.
to Jason Bateman. That guy's just cool, with a capital OO in the middle.
Zeros.
with a K before, or like what?
Maybe, yeah, possibly. Okay, well, I appreciate. I thought it was gonna go very negative toward my mustache. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little surprised. I mean, it's okay.
Are you though?
I am surprised that it didn't cut into more just like shave the mustache, get rid of it. We don't have sponsors because of your mustache.
Well, that might be a reality.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. We'll get to that bridge when we cross it. But that's really it for Over Under. I think we had a wonderful time. The journey was enjoyable to some extent. The end there was I was putting up the walls. The walls were going up to just defend myself more than
I'm
anything.
ready to be hurt.
I was ready, 100% willing to be hurt. I go for more of a Tom Selleck That's in my mind. It's not there, but in my mind, I want a Tom Selleck, and I want it bad. And one day,
He's not gonna stop until he gets there.
I'm not gonna stop until it gets there. I don't know what it is. My genes aren't there. So thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Overrated, underrated. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I love you. I don't know about everyone else here, but I'm sure they have some sort of feelings towards you. If I had to make an assumption, if you enjoyed the content. If this is something that you like to see, please follow us on our social media platforms, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. We post all of the kind of like cut down, edited versions of these throughout the week. So make sure to look out for that stuff. And just follow us in general. We have a lot of cool things happening soon. We are having a lot more professors coming on next month.
Yep.
So with the start of school at UCR, we thought it would be cool to bring on some professors from campus and just have a conversation with them about, you know, how they're doing, how they're faring, what they're planning on doing that's going to kind of enrich the lives of the students that are currently taking their classes. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, please follow us again. Follow us on social media. Follow us on Spotify. And make sure to download and favorite our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. It's probably there. Or you can also find us on the website. Give us a look. JC, what are your social media platforms?
I am on pretty much all social media platforms at JC Aaron, so JACYERIN. So come and say hi.
All right.
Sweet. Again, thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing everybody next week. Take care. Bye-bye, and don't let anyone judge you on the appearance of your mustache. It's cool. It's not for dads. And I'm a father. Thank you for watching.